Have you ever lived out something that someone said that you were, that you knew wasn't true? Or do you live out what you tell yourself that's not true about you? This false identity that I think all humans deal with, but especially men. And we do that in so many ways. We do it with what society tells us. We do it with what other people in our life have told us. And we do it with ourselves, what we ourselves have told ourselves that is not true. And today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the false identity that we all live with, that we all are under, that we all accept in some way or another. And how do we deal with that? How do we get rid of it? How do we actually live in a true identity, in freedom, in who we really are, and what can that even mean? What can that even be like? And we're going to talk about that today on this episode. Welcome. My name is Jake, and welcome to the Crafted Life, where we are built on purpose and shaped by faith. You know, I think we get stuck in just a false identity of who we are in so many ways, and it's so easy to fall into. And so often, I'm telling myself these false messages. And I think a lot of men do tell themselves a lot of false messages. For example, we think what we do is who we are, right? When you meet a guy, it's like, hey, what do you do? We don't ask them, who are you? And what comes out of that in what you do, because who you are should be what you do. And instead, a lot of us go, what we do is who we are, right? Um, in society, we want to belong. We want to be part of a group. We want to be part of obviously something real, something authentic. And yet sometimes we tie ourselves to things that may look good on the outside, may have an appearance of being right, of good, but you dig a little deeper and you find out, man, it's not who I want to be either. And we'll talk about that a little bit too. But I think I want to start kind of big picture. I've really been thinking a lot about this, especially this past year, and especially this week, I think, as it's my 52nd birthday, and just kind of getting older and reflecting on how this year has gone. And I think starting with society, I think we tell ourselves a lot of things that aren't true. For example, we tell ourselves, hey, you can be whatever you think you want to be, and we will support you. We will be behind you. You just go down that road of wherever you think you should go, and we will be there. The problem is when you go down that road of self discovery, of I'm just following my heart, I'm just following my feelings. One, you're not actually doing that. You're following along with what a lot of other people are doing, and they're just saying it's okay, so you're doing it too, if we're being honest. But the problem is we go down this road, and at times it feels like we've gone too far. How are we going to come back from this identity that we've maybe given ourselves, that we've said who we are? Um, and that could be a really traumatic thing. But at the same time, no matter how far you've gone down any road, uh, nothing is irredeemable with Christ. Nothing. Not how far you think you've fallen, not how far you think you've gone, not how far you think it's not fixable. There's still real life and real communion with the person who made you. I think about especially young men, and I'm just going to pick on this. We say, and I've heard this, that a lot of guys are becoming, let's say, more conservative, right? That's kind of the big thing. Like women are tending to go more liberal, and young men are tending to go more conservative. And I think I don't have a problem with maybe someone going conservative. I have a problem though when also again that becomes their identity, and it's these disordered loves or these disordered priorities. Um, because again, when you tie yourself to something, they get to name you. They get to call you who you are. And I'm going to talk on that a little bit more. I think that we, in our past, whether that's another adult as we're kids, those of you watching this, if you're kids, or even adults, you've all had this experience where someone has spoken into your life that you really respected. For example, you really looked up to. Um, they were a role model for you. There was someone that you really admired, and yet they spoke into your life and they told you things that were false. One example of that for me, as a young married man, we were at a church where I got to be part of the speaking team. I got to be part of the teaching team. And we were all part of a group with a mentor who was, again, maybe 15 years ahead of me in public education, had taught other adult Sunday school groups. And I really loved being this because this is at the beginning of my teaching career. And I thought, not only do I want to teach kids, I want to teach adults. I really want to do this. As time went on, he finally sat down with my wife and I and said, Jake, I don't think you're cut out for teaching. And I agreed with him. And I held on to that and I accepted it. And for a very long time, I said, that's true. I shouldn't teach. I'm not made to teach. I don't have the skills to teach. And looking back on this now, um, that wasn't true. But yet I accepted it. I accepted that as part of my identity. I accepted that as part of who I was from someone who I looked up to, someone I respected, someone who I thought had, or I gave authority to, at least. Someone who's a lot farther than I am, someone who's I thought was wiser than I am, and I'm not saying he's not wise. Um, but I accepted something that wasn't true about me. Uh, on this channel, I'll just, this isn't really an aside, but I look back on that and I think, what if he'd said, hey, I don't think you're good right now, but I see your heart. I see that you have some skill. Let's develop it. Let's work on this. I want to see your notes. I want to see how you're coming up with this. I want to see how you're developing this. And let's see how we can get you to be from good to better or bad to good, at least. And we don't do that. We either just say, hey, I really don't think you're cut out for this. Or if someone just tries, we don't encourage them. We don't say anything. We just leave it. We don't give them any advice. We don't give them any encouragement. We don't give them any uh, constructive criticism. Again, and when I mean constructive criticism, I mean to say, hey, this didn't go so well, but this is where I think you could change. This is how I think if you just did this, you could make that a little bit better. This is where I would change this. This is where I think you could improve this, right? Now, obviously, if someone's trying to do something that they're not cut out for, um, I think you should speak truth and be truthful with them. But I don't think, looking back, um, one, someone who was over me telling me something that's not true, and me accepting that, I accepted it, and I own that too. I think too often we accept things that someone has spoken into our life, that someone has said, "This is who you are," that someone has said, "This is who uh, I see you as," and it's not in a positive light, and we hold on to it, we accept it, we think about it. And not only that, right? I myself, in telling myself false messages about who I am, what kind of person I am, do I have skills to teach? Do I have skills to fix things? Do I have skills and the ability to really pull through, right? This whole idea of, do I have what it takes? And often my message to myself, if I'm just talking to myself, is no, I don't. sometimes the self-talk that we do as men, if we're being honest, that I don't know if I have what it takes. I don't know if I have the ability. I don't know um, if I could do it, right? And so you have all these messages. You have them from culture, um, giving you false messages. You have them from other people that have been in your life, giving you these false messages. You have them from yourself, giving yourself these false messages. And this year has been a transformative year for me. And it all started in January with a friend told me about a book. It's called Living Fearless by Jamie Winship. And if you haven't read it, I encourage you to pick it up. If you want to check out his videos on YouTube, I would encourage you to check them out. And the book is about living out of your true identity and not living out of a false identity. Because we all live out of it as human beings. But again, I'm specifically talking to guys, and so often we live out of this false identity of either talking ourselves down, or this negative talk, or even sometimes making ourselves out to be something we're not. We have to get rid of this false identity because this false identity is tied to those things. The things that give you that identity, those people that have spoken into your life that are things that are not true, how society speaks into your life on things that are not true, they're tied to you. You're connected to them. They're like bonded to you. There's no like getting away from them. It's like Spider-Man is in his web of some kind, right? There's no like you can't take it off. You can't undo it. No matter how hard you try, no matter how much you have positive thoughts or how much you do whatever you think you need to do, um, it doesn't go away. But through this book, Jamie Winship wrote, it's all about finding your true identity and finding it in Christ, because He is the only one who can actually name you. He is the only one who can actually give you your true name and your true identity, and to live out of that, and to tie yourself to Him, to tie yourself to what He's called you as a name, as uh, as a created creature, as unique and one and only, with gifts and abilities and bents and passions that He's only given you. When I've started to live out of that this year, really this year, and I've known this. I've been a Christian since I was a little kid, since I was probably 5. Grew up in a Christian home, been going to church all my life, uh, believed in Jesus all my life, and I've been growing in that. But this year, man, God has opened my eyes and made it very clear that I am not what society says I am. I am not what other people in my past have said that I am, and not what I have told myself. And it's taken a while. It's taken me bringing that to the Lord and saying, Lord, I have all these false things about that. Reveal to me the things that you know that I believe about myself. What do you think about that? What do you think about the things I think about myself? And honestly, that can be really intimidating. Because what if God says the same things about you that you've been saying about yourself? Yeah, you're kind of a jerk, right? You aren't dependable. You aren't this. You aren't that. Like, is He going to agree with my thoughts? Because I think I've told myself that so much. Yet, because He's a good Father, He says that's not true about you, son. I created you for amazing things. I created you to be an encourager. I created you to speak up. And I feel like I've been growing in those things this year, and He's just revealing my identity more and more and more and deeper and deeper and deeper. And when I'm tied to Him, all those other things that I've been tied to are slowly being just undone. He's just untying those knots and releasing those webs, untying those knots, releasing those things I'm tied to, those things that I've bonded myself to. And it's an amazing feeling, guys, to not be tied to those false ideas, those false identities of I have to perform, I have to show people that I have what it takes, I have to be the person who is dependable, I have to be the person who shows up, I have to be this, I have to be that, or else what are people going to think of me? I don't care what anybody thinks of me anymore. I'm going to give you an example over the past year or two that I've kind of worked out here in Minnesota as a teacher and a Minnesotan. There are definitely things that are Minnesotan, like we say pop instead of soda, and we say hot dish instead of casserole, and we are passive aggressive. Oh my goodness, we are passive aggressive. Um, People will they'll smile at your face, but they're talking about you when you're not when you're around the corner. It's not a good thing, but it is true Minnesotan to be passive aggressive. It really is. And as a teacher as well, I'm not part of the union, and that's for a lot of personal reasons. I don't believe that my money should be going to things that I don't believe in, that I don't trust in, that I don't support, and so I haven't been part of the union for a very long time, and I've heard from other well roundabout sort of way, hey, Jake, he's not in the union, right? He's not one of us, but yet they're friendly, but you know when I'm not around, it's this. Or being called out uh, in a meeting, right? You're one of those three people that aren't union. And I was so mad a couple years ago. I was so mad. I'm like, you guys can just do what you want to do, and I don't care. Like, I didn't care. Now, because of this, I have decided, because of my identity is in Christ, my identity isn't in that I need to fight these people. I don't need to fight you, my staff members who may be watching this. I love you. I want to support you. I want to make sure I'm a part of that community and doing what I can to serve our kids and to serve you. That's my goal. But I don't care if you don't like it that I'm in a union. I don't. You can say what you want. You can talk about me what you want. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter to me anymore. And that's the amazing thing. I'm so much freer than I ever have been because I don't have to live out of a false identity anymore. And amazing feeling that I want for all of you that are watching this, that are listening to this, that you don't have to live out of a false identity anymore. And when you do ask, Lord, what is it that I'm believing about myself? What is it that I think about myself that's not true? And let him answer. And don't worry about it. It's okay. He's a good father, and he loves you, and he cares about you. And he wants to give you your true identity, and he wants you to be tied to him, and he wants you to become more like Jesus and follow him. And with that, I tell you what, it's amazing. And we're going to talk more about this a little bit later about kind of what it looks like more on the other side next week. I think we really need to do that. But I think we suffer so much. We deal with this a lot as guys, just living out of this false identity of who do I need to be? How do I need to look? What do I need to say? How do I need to show up? Right? And yet, when I'm doing this out of my true identity, it's unstoppable. It's unstoppable because I'm not so concerned about or fearful about what people may say or what people may think or whatever, or living out of these messages in my past about people trying to get in to and say this is who you are, and it's not who I am, and I know it. I know it for certain. I know it for real. It's not just my truth, it is the truth that I am created by God. I am his son. I am made to work. I am made to work with my hands. I'm made to build. I'm made to encourage. I'm made to lift up. And even if you may not agree with me, even though you may not like what I do, I'm okay with that. And honestly, when I'm having these talks, you know, I don't really talk about Charlie Kirk a whole lot in this video, but I'm not interested in even winning the argument. I'm interested in winning the person. I'm not interested in making sure that you know I'm right and you're wrong. Hopefully, we can talk and dialogue. I hope, but I'm interested in winning you. I'm interested in that you hear my heart. You hear why I'm thinking the way I'm thinking. You hear where I'm coming from, and I'm listening and listening to where you're coming from too, right? So, and maybe we may not agree on everything, but at least we're getting closer, and that's the amazing thing that I can live out of that security, that identity, and not live in fear, not worrying about um, all the things that I used to worry about so much. Not that I'm completely free. It's you're always growing, right? You're always changing. You're always learning more about yourself. And when God gives you that identity and you start living out of that, and I'm learning more. And it's only been a year. It's been less than a year actually. It's an amazing thing, guys. It really is. Um, I would love to hear if this is something that you've dealt with, living out of a false identity of whether it's you are what you do, it's your work, you are how you show up by providing a check, you are um, how you look, you are how whatever, and these false messages that you're even telling yourself, I'm not this, or I'm not that, or I'm not fill in the blank, because we all do it. No matter where you're at, no matter who you are, no matter if you're young, no matter if you're old, no matter if you have a ton of money, no matter if you don't have much money at all. It doesn't matter. But I'd love to hear maybe where are some places where you struggled with this, and where we wanted to change, because starting with that foundation of a true identity and getting out of a false identity, again, opens you up to so much freedom to create, to be who you're meant to be, to build, to invest, to have those relationships, to go to where God's asking you to go and talk to the people who you may not want to talk to, but doing it out of love for Him because He's named you, not them. And you want them to have their true identity. You want to show them their true identity, that they can live out of that true, that they can live out of that too. Because everybody's living out of their false identity. So I don't take it personally. And it's not that before I said I don't care. It's not that I don't care. I think it's a little harsh. It's that I know that they are not living in their true identity either. And if they were, man, that would be amazing. We could have dialogue. We could have talks. It wouldn't be Minnesota passive aggressive now, would it? And that would be amazing. That would truly be amazing, right? So, man, I hope this has been an encouragement to you as men. I hope that um, you don't continue to live in that false identity. I encourage you to go look up something from Jamie Winship on YouTube and go check it out. See what you think. I encourage you to pick up the book. That's on audio or read it. I've read it a couple times and it's changed my life. I think it would change yours for sure. And I'll leave a link below in the description for that if you want to check that out. I think it would be an amazing thing for you to experience, and an amazing thing for you to read. So next week we're going to talk a little bit more about true identity. We're going to get into it maybe just a little bit deeper and discuss a little bit more, because again, it's the ultimate foundation. It's where we begin. It's where if we're going to have that crafted life that is built on purpose and shaped by faith, as we say, it's an amazing thing, guys. So this is Jake, and we'll see you in the next one.